Okay, I got 12:30, so let's get this thing rolling. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us today for our first quarterly meeting of this year. As we have a large group, just please keep yourself muted. If you have any questions, just reach out to me after the call. We're also recording this meeting, so if you want to recap on something that we covered, or if you didn't have a chance to see the meeting, it'll be available to you to watch or share with another team member. Today, we're going to be, Jason's going to kick us off with some safety stuff, and then we're going to jump into some fun facts about Trimble. Jason, you want to kick us off?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you everybody for joining. I don't have much since our safety meeting last month. I just had a few things I wanted to touch up on as the weather starts getting nicer. A lot more scheduled confined space and trench work begins on job sites. So confined space, a lot of times people just call and say, I need a gas meter, I need a vent, I need, the winch, the tripod. We also need to do a training for confined space, and it's not an all-day affair. It's not as hectic as it sounds. It's as easy as we can do it over a Google meeting like this. You can pop your laptop open in front of your crew, and we can do it in less than an hour. We can get everybody trained for confined spaces. If you have any work scheduled, just give me as much advance notice as you can, because sometimes the confined space equipment might be out on another job, and we might have to order some new stuff if we're not going to have it ready in time. That can take a while. For trench work, it's hard because we're not the ones normally digging the trench ever. It's normally the GC doing that for us and coordinating that with the site work guys. So when we're in it, though, we're held liable for the standards of the trench. As if we're sending employees, we can be fined for things that are the way it's dug, I should say. So the easiest way to remember the rules for trenches is with numbers. It's 2, 4, 5, 6. 2 feet, spoil piles need to be 2 feet away from the edge of excavations. At 4 feet deep, you need a ladder every 24 or every 25 feet for egress and access. Once you hit 5 feet of depth in a trench, you either need sloping, shoring, or a trench box. And then at 6 feet, we need fall protection around it. So easy way to remember those. There's a toolbox talk on Bluebeam that has that written out too. Anytime you're going to be going in a trench, walk over it, make sure it's set up correctly. Just because a qualified operator dug it doesn't mean it's to standard. So make sure it's right before we send our guys in it. And lastly, safety meeting app. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing that word. I'm getting sick of saying it, but safety meeting app. I've gotten a lot of questions from people spending a lot of time having to scroll through if you have a larger crew and select all the employees for your crew. It can take a while. But there's an easy way to avoid that. You can favorite your employees. If you're doing it from a laptop, on the main screen, you go to company admin, click on employees, go to each one of your employees on there and click on the edit option and select them as a favorite. And then if you're doing it from your phone or your iPad, on the home screen, there's 3 little dots up in the right corner. You click those and go to employees, find your employees' names, click on them and select them as favorite. So now when you go to set up a toolbox talk, you won't have to go through that whole list of 700 something names to select your crew. All of your crew will be at the top of that list each time. So they're right there, easy to select them. That's all I have, guys. Everything I've seen in the field in the past month walking job sites has been fantastic. So keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. All right, so moving on into Trimble. Some of you may use Trimble regularly, and some of you may be just hearing about Trimble for the first time. So just want to cover a few things and hopefully you get something out of this. So Trimble is a survey tool. It's used to locate anchors and sleeves, floor boxes, light fixtures, and many other things from where it is coordinated in the model to where it'll be installed in the field. We've been using Trimble on projects for about 15 years, and it's proven to be extremely a helpful tool. We have 4 units that we have in service, and we've trained 4 electricians to be able to operate it. The Trimble unit consists of several components. You have the RTS, or the Robotic Total Station, which is the base unit. and that gets located in the building. And then you have a tablet. The tablet stores the points, the point list, and it communicates with the RTS to position the operator right over the point where they have to mark. This type of layout is very accurate and very efficient, but it also comes with some requirements for those who plan to use it. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes covering them. Trimble works best when it is a CAD or Revit file to work from. Other files are possible, but much less accurate. So if there's a model that the trades are coordinating to, it works well. Otherwise, it's difficult to make sure the points are being laid out in alignment with the architecture and the other trades. Trimble point files need to be created by the BIM coordinator and shared with the Trimble operator at least 24 hours before they start shooting, just so that they can load the file and make sure it opens correctly. So if you're scheduling time for Trimble, make sure that the BIM coordinator has what they need to create that file. Control points. A minimum of 3, 4 is better. They're needed for the BIM operator, the BIM coordinator to build that point file. So Foreman, please stay on top of that with the GC. It often takes a lot of reminding to get them to get that information to our BIM coordinator in time to make that file. You should budget at least 1 day to shoot 150 points. So if you got 500 points to shoot, it's gonna most likely take more than 3 days to shoot. So you need to budget enough time with the GC so that the operator can get out there and get those points shot. Trimble operators are assigned to a project for a minimum of 8 hours. So it's best if they have at least 150 points to shoot. They're electricians, so if they run out of Trimble work, they can assist with other things on the job for the balance of the day. But just make sure you have other things for them to do if they finish up early or they lose access to an area. The Trimble operator's primary duty is to set up Trimble and mark the points. They can drill the holes and push the anchors in there as well, but depending on the amount of points there are and the time available, it's best if you have someone working with them, following behind, doing the drilling and the installing of the anchors. You need to make sure the deck is accessible. This is something that the GCs struggle with. And it's best if you get this information right from the ironworker foreman. So just if you have it scheduled and you have a date and the GC's telling you you're going to have access, just go to them and just confirm before you get things lined up. The Trimble area needs to be as clear as possible. So take a look up there and see what's on that deck before you coordinate this. And if there's piles of rebar or there's mesh or other materials that are in the way, try to get that stuff clear so that you can get all the points needed to be shot. Trimble needs to be shot before the mesh and rebar go down. Some people don't realize that either. When they're operators out there laying out for the points, you'll see them, they have the tablet on the pole and they do moving backwards and forwards, left and right to try to get a final position for that to make contact with the deck. And if you have those obstructions in the way, it's very difficult to get that accurate position. So make sure that they don't put those things down prior to us shooting Trimble. Trimble's a very expensive tool. It costs about $50,000 to purchase a complete unit. So there's some precautions that you need to make allowances for when using it on your project, and I just want to cover them real quick. First off is a Trimble cannot be left unattended. And I know this can be difficult because guys got to take breaks and they got to have lunch and it could be time that they're going to be away from that tool. But if we got to find a way, either if someone can take break in the area. If not, you may have to break the thing down and set the thing back up again. And I know that can take some time, but it's a must to prevent that thing from damage. The Trimble units have to have secondary lines attached to them. So there's two main ways to mount Trimble. You can use a beam clamp and mount it to a column, or you can use a tripod. If the beam clamp's used, they have a ratchet strap that goes around it. So it's just a clamp that clamps onto the beam, mechanical clamp, but they also have a ratchet strap that goes all the way around it. So if someone bumps that beam clamp, the thing doesn't fall into the ground. The tripod, if you're using that, you got to lock the feet down. Somehow you got to lock the feet down. We got triangles for these. You guys may or may not know what the triangles are, but it's just a means to lock the feet in a place so they don't get kicked out from under them. And then you also need to be able to kind of clamp the thing down to the ground. And that could be drilling an anchor in the ground directly under the unit and using a ratchet strap to kind of suck that thing down. So if someone walks by and hits the thing, it's not going to fall over. The Trimble unit, we're saying that we want the beam to be the primary mounting for the unit. If you have beams out there, you should be using the beam clamp to mount it. It's the best, most secure way to mount that unit. Tripods are just not very stable. So I know they're more flexible, but you know, you got to try to default to the beam. And lastly, if you're using it more than a few days on a project, you got to store the thing in a locked, warm, dry space, like a foreman's field office or someplace like that. You can't just lock it in a gang box up into unconditioned space there. It's highly susceptible to cold and moisture, and performance is diminished by how the batteries get charged. So you got to put that in a space it's somewhat conditioned to make sure it's operating well. Unfortunately, we've had some incidents over the last few months, and Trimble's got damaged. And you know, it's not only a great cost to repair these things or replace them, but it also delays your installation. You know, it takes time to kind of get replacements out to the job site, and you know, if you've done Trimble, you don't usually have a lot of time, you know, between when you got to get the stuff in place and other trades are going to come behind you. So again, these things that we're asking to do, we have them for a reason, just to prevent, you know, high costs and to keep your project kind of moving. If you have Trimble being used on the job too, we want you to cover it in your pre-task plans with your crew. You know, make sure that they know some of these things too, so that they can be looking out for as well. And, you know, budget the time needed for your guys to, you know, break the Trimble down if it needs to be broken down, or kick in the extra team members to help them kind of be efficient with the install. If you have any more questions about Trimble, or you want to get using Trimble on your own job, just, you know, Tim White is our primary contact for Trimble, so contact him directly or through Dock Control, and we'll follow up with you and get you going. All right, I think that's all I can really say about Trimble at this point in time. Hope you guys are sufficiently stimulated. And I think that's going to wrap us up today. So I really appreciate you attending. And if you have any questions about what I cover, what Jason covered, please reach out, and we'll try to get you sorted out there. And if nothing else, we'll see you guys in the next quarterly Foreman'S meeting. There'll be a monthly safety meeting coming up next month, but quarterly safety meeting, the quarterly Foreman'S meeting will be June 26, 2025. Thanks very much for your time.